Good morning. It is August 26th, and the Mariners just moved into a tie for first place. I think they might have the tiebreaker over the Rangers, so maybe technically they might be in first place. But I'm back for another round of the Immaculate Grid. Yesterday, I bit myself in the butt by taking some guesses on some old-timey players. I will probably use an old-timey player in today's grid. And I will use one of the slots, hopefully, to knock out another one of the players in my Refuse to Lose challenge, where I try to get each member from the starting lineup of the 1995 Mariners in their one-game playoff against the Angels to win the AL West title that year. All right, well, let's get to the grid. All right, well, here is today's grid. We have the Cardinals and the Blue Jays, and a lot of statistical categories. They're all offensive, although I suppose you could use All-Star and Rookie of the Year for a pitcher. All right, so I'm going to start with the Mariner that I want to get knocked out from the 95 teams, and that's going to be Edgar Martinez. 200 plus hits. I'd have to think he had over 200 hits, a former batting champion, and an All-Star debut, or let's hope he was an All-Star debut. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, well, never mind. And there goes the grid. That is a surprise to me. Maybe he never made an All-Star. Well, I'll have to check that out to see which one of those categories he failed to fill. Maybe it was both. I don't know. All right, well, let's go ahead and get the rest of this grid out of the way here. Okay, so for 200 hits, 40 home runs, we'll go with Rogers Hornsby. So that's the old-timey player. And I seem to remember that he had a 42 home run season, and in a time where it wasn't common to hit that many home runs. Let's see if the Raja will do it for me. He does. Okay. Let's see. And let's go with the St. Louis column here. So St. Louis, Toronto, Troy Glaus would work here. I'm going to go with Woody Williams. And I think he went from Toronto to St. Louis and then to San Diego, or maybe he went to San Diego in between, but I'm quite sure that he played for both teams. There we go. Let's see, St. Louis rookie. So the Rookie of the Year, I always have a hard time remembering who exactly won Rookie of the Year. I'm pretty sure Pujols would have won. If not, I guess my second best guess would be like Vince Coleman, but I don't know. I pulled extra L. Pujols. Albert. All right, there we go. 80%. Okay. Rookie of the Year, 40 home runs. We'll go with Canseco, 40-40 man. And I know he did win Rookie of the Year as well, beating Wally Joyner. All right. Rookie of the Year, All-Star. I know that Chuck Knobloch won Rookie of the Year, and quite sure he made the All-Star team. 200 hits St. Louis. I'll probably go with Lou Brock. There's lots of people you could use here, I'd have to think. I feel like I used Willie McGee before for St. Louis 200 hits, but I'm not positive on that. Joe Medwick, Ducky Medwick, is another guy I think I might want to go with here. He won the Triple Crown, so we know that he has at least one batting title, and I would think typically the batting champion gets over 200 hits, but not always. But in any case, we'll go with Lou Brock and hope that he achieved that feat sometime during his career. There we go. All right, so Toronto 40-plus home runs. So I know Guerrero and Bautista both had a home run championship, home run belt. So we'll go with one of those guys. Let's see. Since Bautista was a little further back, not much further, we'll go with him. Hopefully I'm getting the right one. There we go. Let's see. Okay, so I only have one more guess. So I want to go with All-Star Toronto or 200 hit. We'll go with All-Star Toronto. Let's see. So a name that's come up in the recent past is Damaso Garcia. That would be a good answer here. Who else was it? Yeah. For some reason, I have this weird memory of Ernie Witt being in the All-Star game, but that's really, I wouldn't bet the bank on that for sure. Tom Henke probably made the All-Star game. The Terminator. He looked like an accountant, but he was huge. They called him the Terminator because he threw very hard. But in any case, yeah, we'll go with Garcia. Tomaso Garcia. All right, that was a good one. All right, well, if not for the Edgar Martinez flub, would have the Immaculate Grid. Oh well, it's worth a chance. So that was my grid, 8 for 9. Had a couple of good answers, Woody Williams, Tomaso Garcia. In any case, hope your grid was immaculate today. All right, have a good Saturday. All right, well, since I jammed through the baseball grid pretty quickly, I figured, let's go ahead and try to record myself doing the NBA grid. I may or may not include this, but in any case, I've never got an immaculate NBA grid. I find it harder than the baseball grid, probably because I just don't know as much about the NBA as Major League Baseball. And with the NFL, I'm pretty useless there. If I get the right WNBA grid, I think I could get an immaculate grid there. But this grid, as you'll notice, has the the Oklahoma City Thunder, previously known as the Seattle Supersonics. So I think I could get a couple of fun picks here. And yeah, so let's go. So yeah, the best one for me would be the upper left, which would be Indiana and Seattle Supersonics. Derek McKee was a player that the Sonics traded to the Pacers. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what the trade was exactly, but I know that another player that works here, a couple are Sam Perkins and Detlef Schrempf. I don't know if either of those would have been involved in the McKee trade, but anyways, those all work. And I feel like Ricky Pierce would work here as well. I'm gonna go though with Big Smooth, Sam Perkins. There we go. All right. Okay, so Seattle, Denver. I feel like Jeff Green works here, and of course that would have been a player that would have straddled Seattle and Oklahoma City. Probably played more years with the Oklahoma City Thunder than the Seattle Supersonics. I feel like Dale Ellis might work here as well. So obviously I'm not 100% sure on these, but we'll go with Dale Ellis, see if that works. Okay, 2 for 2. Here I'm just going to go with the obvious answer, which is the Rain Man, Sean Kemp, simply because I can't think of any other likely answers. So the Rain Man, 25%. Indiana, San Antonio, we'll go with the Rifleman, Chuck Person, which kind of makes me sad because I would have liked to have used him in the 20-point, but I can't think of any other. I can't remember if like Paul George played with San Antonio. I don't think so. So we'll go with Chuck Person. All right, 20 points, Indiana, Reggie Miller certainly would work here. I feel like Jalen Rose would have had a 20-point season. Kind of wonder if Seattle native Jamal Crawford might not have also scored 20 points. And yeah, Paul George would certainly be one. We'll just go with Reggie. All right, 48. So Denver, San Antonio. So this is one that I would take a wild guess on. The only name that seemed like it might be right, it was Antonio McDyess. I don't know why. But let's go ahead and go with Denver, 20 points. So two names that come to mind here are Alex English. That's quite sure that he would have had over 20 points. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. I think he had a 20-point season in Denver. And obviously Jokic and Murray would both work there. At least I think Murray had over 20 points recently. But we'll go with Mahmoud Rauf. Oh, am I not spelling that right? Maybe he goes under Chris Jackson. That's who he was when he was drafted. No. Tell me. Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh, I have to do Abdul-Rauf. Okay. Let's see if he did it. Nope. Well, there goes the grid. I might not include this. 20 points. Cleveland. Let's see. I think Brent Price. Larry Nance, maybe. Brad Daugherty. But I'm going to go ahead and go with Brad Daugherty. All right. Let's see, Spurs, Cleveland. We're going to go with Danny Ferry, former Duke product. He was, I think Mark Allery, I think Mark Allery was first in the line of Caucasian big men who went through Duke. So it'd be like Allery, Ferry, Christian Laettner, Cherokee Parks. But yeah, we'll go with Danny Ferry. Okay, so yeah, let's just see if Antonio McDyess works here. McDyess is nice. Yes. All right, well, there's my NBA grid, 8 out of 9. I thought I had a chance. Well, I did have a chance to do get the Immaculate Grid if I would have went with Alex English. Disappointing. Anyways, that's above average for me, well above average. Yep. So anyways, that's the NBA grid.